take the microphone. You don't have to speak, but we do want you, if you should have and find revelation, um, you will be able to speak and share at that time. Make all of our moderators, please, moderators. All right, I think I've done that. And we want to make it our business to get into the word. Okay. All right, let's get started. I'm going to take opportunity to pray, and then we're going to have our moderators come on to tell us why we're here at this hour and this time. And then we're going to get right into the writ. To all of them that do what we do for moderation, please make sure we are prepared, ready to roll, ready to go, ready to roll. All righty. Father, we come before you in the mighty and the matchless name of Yahushua HaMashiach, our Savior, our King, our hope, our peace, our joy, our strength, our love. You are our everything. We're asking you now to be with, in, through, toward us, for us, in your namesake and praise, as we look to push our spirits and our hearts and our souls towards the thing that govern us by your counsel. You said, if any man lack wisdom, let him ask of you. You would give it liberally, and you would upbraid it not. So today, we come to you to read your word, get your instructions, understand your purpose for us, and move in a vein of quality of life that pleases and satisfies you. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. Thank you for the opportunity to be in you. Thank you for your salvation. You did not have to do it, but you did. And then you gave us a way to make sure we maintained it in our lives. We thank you, and we all say, Amen. All right, moderators, tell us why we're here, what's really going on.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight in the Bible Book Club. We're so glad that you've joined us. We are here every Thursday at 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We want you to know that even though this room has replays on, we are streaming live on Facebook at VWJ Ministries and our YouTube channel, which is also at VWJ Ministries. We are here throughout the week under our second club, The Preceding Word, and you can find that club under Apostles Profile. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are Sabbath keepers in this house, and so you will find us here Friday night studying our Sabbath Midrash at 11 p.m. And then we return again on Saturdays at 11 a.m. And we're here on Sundays for our Morrow After Sabbath service, which starts at 10:15. And under Darash Kingdom Ministries, we also have our Wednesday night Bible study at 7 p.m. We want to thank you for joining us tonight. And now I turn it over to Minister Wanda to give us our notes.
Shalom, everyone. Your notes have been pinned at the top of the page, so if you'd like to grab them down and read along with me, that would be great. We are in Bereshit 16, and these are your notes from September the 15th, 2022 and 16, but our ending scripture was Bereshit 16 and 3. Now, our scripture of focus was Ephesians 5, 21 through 23, and Isaiah 58, 13 through 14. Now, as Apostle was teaching, vision and resource. Now, we have some amazing key points, so I'm not going to go through all of them, but you have your notes here. We're just going to grab a few so Apostle can begin to teach. Apostle reminds us that Elohim created the very first human being, both male, they were asexual. He created them and called their name Adam. Yahweh has always wanted humanity, though he separated the female from the male, to always work as one. Now, this is important because the man is the actual antenna for all signals that come from Yahweh our Elohim. Yahweh wants to communicate the vision to the masculine entity, but he gives the vision to humanity in general. But both male and female work to bring the vision into manifestation. Please note, nothing gets done in the earthen realm unless something is said. So whatever Yahweh says from the heavens, it must be heralded from the voices in the earth so that the Ruach HaKodesh can come and perform it. Now, it is important that you understand that Apostle explains Elohim's intentions for male and female to functionally operate as one. You can find that at Facebook Live at 3708. Now, in regards to Sarai did what she was geared to do. She heard the vision and tried to bring it to pass. The problem is her impatience to wait on Yahweh. I'm going to skip down the vision. Well, let's say Sarah simply helped Abram meet the goal. As women, we help to meet the goal. And the final point is that Apostle brought out, which I thought was so interesting. Vision meets at the water place. The servant finds Rebekah at the well for Isaac. Jacob meets Rachel at the well. Moshe meets Sephora at the well. And the Messiah meets the Samaritan woman at the well. Teachable moment is never read the Bible until you've read Torah. Apostle, we're ready to learn. Over to you.
Yahweh be praised. Let's get started, Zion. So we've got some things to discuss. Let's get back into the book of Bereshit, chapter number 16. We're going to start again at verse 1. I know we stopped off at, what verse was it we stopped off at in chapter 16 last time? I think it may have been verse
3.
Yeah, 3. All right, let's get started. Let's go back up at Bereshit, Genesis, chapter 16. For those of you who are here, this is good stuff to pick up on and learn from. So let's go right back into verse 1. All right. Now Sarai, Avram's wife, bare Avram no children as yet. She did have a handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Avram, behold now, Yahweh has restrained me from being able to bear. I pray thee, Avram, go in unto my maid, whom I own. It may be that I may obtain children via her. And Avram hearkened to the voice of Sarai. Now, as you all know, in verses 1 through 2, we're hearing that Avram and Sarai are realizing that there is age, a time period, and there are some elements and factors happening that show that there's no activity with childbearing. So this vision haver, Abraham, is now run in with his resource, Sarai, and she is quite well thinking how to bring the vision she can confirm came from Yahweh into fruition. Because again, I want everybody to repeat this with me. And I don't care where you are on the planet. I want y'all to repeat this with me. Say, vision is attracted to resource, and resource is attracted to vision.
Vision is attracted to resource.
It's a very true thing. And what we don't realize about that is that vision is in the sense of gender, masculinity. And then you have also the element and ideology that the resource is definitely the feminine. So when Yahweh gave humanity a function, they were one. So womb, man, resource man, from the vision, antenna man, and made them separate, but asked them to work as if they were initially created as one. That's a very empowering thing. Most people don't really pay most attention to it, but today I want you to get it. and I want you to understand it. Okay, remember, we're in a Bible book club, guys. I'm not going to be teaching you. We are here to study together. So I'm giving you a microphone, so when you get in Revelation or you get a conversation or a question, no antagonizing, no debate, but you got a question, you can come off mic, say your name. Our moderator will put you in queue, and then I will answer. We will deal with your thought, question, reveal, live time right here. Those of you on Facebook, go ahead, feel free to type it into your text. Those of you on YouTube, do the same, type it in your text. Those of you on IG, type it into your text, and our moderators who are attending to those particular outlets will find you and get your question live with us in real time. All right, so verse 1. Now, I was talking to, or at least I got an inbox from one of our ministers here, talking about verse 1. Now, I'm going to deviate just a little bit. We talked about Sariah being the resource. Do we all believe that Sariah is the resource and Abraham is the vision?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we know that Yahweh gave vision to humanity, and the way he structured it was the masculinity with the head, the ears, the eyes, the mouth. And then that's the masculine factor of the human. And then there was the female factor of the human embedded within the core. The womb area under the rib cage of the human species. So we know that vision and resource are attracted, masculine and femininity are attracted. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, and I had a question or a statement come up, and I thought would be fun to endeavor or engage. So Sariah, verse 1, Bereshit 16, Genesis 16. Now, Sariah, Abram's wife, she bare him no children. Yet she knew there was a prophecy that Abram would bring forth children and be called a father of many nations. So she had a handmaid, and who was an Egyptian woman, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abram, behold, now Yahweh has restrained me from bearing. I pray you, sir, my husband, the vision. Here's a resource. Here's an idea. Why don't you go into my maid? I own her. It may be that I may obtain children by her, since I'm believing, as we both know, that I'm past the years of childbearing. Avram then, he did not buck, he did not moan, he was not overly excited. So it wasn't like he was like, woo, I get 2 women, hallelujah. That wasn't what he was doing. And he wasn't like, Sarai, you tripping. He's like, oh, okay, because he understood vision and resource. And so he is like, all right, I got the vision. I don't know how Yahweh's going to do it, but here is an idea that is plausible. And so maybe you're right. My love, my wife, my resource Yahweh gave me to fulfill the vision he put me out here in this place to do. So he takes this into consideration. So he hearkens to the voice of Sariah. And Sariah, who happens to be Avram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Avram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband, Avram, to be his wife. So Sariah was good with it. She knew there was a purpose in it, and she rendered what she owned and what she, y'all know about, like it or not, that's the way the cultures were back then. And this indentured servant was given by the ruler of the contract to their spouse to be espoused and thereby bring forth their purpose for why they're doing it. So they wasn't just having this menage a trois because, they was freaky. She was trying to help by any logical means necessary, the vision come to fruition. Does everybody understand the dynamic of vision and resource attraction?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just a couple of y'all, but y'all know y'all can talk, right? So moderators, make sure our new people coming in all get, in fact, invitations to come up. We do want you to be here. We want to make sure you grasp and understand all things. Now, let's look at this closely. I want to talk about something. I got a call and an email from an individual. Well, actually, it wasn't. I got a call from Minister Wanda. This was a different thing. This is Minister Wanda. Minister Wanda, can you talk right now?
No, sir.
That's a problem. All right. Well, one of the things
I can try. Can you hear me? It's a little noisy.
It may be noisy, but we can hear you. Go ahead. I'll permit it. Talk to me as to what caught your attention in Genesis Bereshit chapter 16 verse 1. Talk to me. Talk to us.
So, okay, what came to my attention was the fact that Hagar's handmaidens that her father purchased for her, bought and paid for, was her servant, but she came from Egypt.
Mhm.
Now, what I thought was interesting is that the servant bought and paid for was Sarai's servant. In it, I thought it was interesting that 400 years later, those very people that were servants to Israel were the same ones that put them in bondage. And they're not just servants, now they're slaves. And at one time, Egypt was bought as servants for them. And then Yahweh turned that around because of their disobedience and used Egypt to enslave and put them in bondage. That was what I thought was interesting. I wasn't
Okay, so
sure
let me
if it was a
put
good
clarity to it. Let me put clarity to it because we got some names switched up, and I know you're probably busy doing what you do well. Sariah is the person with the handmaid Hagar. Hagar was given to Sariah by her father, the way the culture was when she married Avram. And as is customary, her Sariah's father, being a man of wealth, had servants, gave Hagar to Sariah as a servant, an indentured servant, and Hagar happens to be from Egypt. Now, in this, there is considered, if you know culture and you've done history of these times, days, and places, Egypt was not as powerful as it was when Israel came into existence. And Israel was responsible for making Egypt as powerful as it was to some great degree. However, Sariah gives her Egyptian indentured servant to her husband. Now, her husband is not Israeli, okay? He is Avram. He is the father of Islam. You might not like it, but that's a fact. And he is a father of what we call Christendom, and he is the father of Judaism. So the three main monotheisms in the earth have the father Abraham as their patriarch. Now, the issue with Islam is that it became Aramaic, that is, it became the language, the culture of Egypt later. How later? Well, when you read the next few chapters, you'll see when Hagar was then put forward from Egypt, or pardon me, she was put forward from the camp of Avram, put forward, put into a desert, put into a wilderness, having to depend on the God of Avram to get them to safe haven and have a blessing put on them, just like Israel was put forth from Egypt. So the very interesting piece that Minister Wanda has had brought to her attention is that though Avram is not Israel, Israel would serve a country, a strange land that they would be strangers in, and that strange land would be a land he himself had a servant from, and basically forced them to bear. Wow. Forced this Egyptian to bear his seed, which would not actually become the seed of promise. And so we don't like to dig this deep many times within Christendom because it makes it look, sort of kind of negative and shines light negatively upon Abraham and Sariah. But they did what slave owners did. That's a wow moment right there. I'm hoping y'all picked up on that. So the irony, I think, that Minister Wanda, and if I'm wrong, you can correct me, is that they had a servant from Egypt. and then Yahweh made them servants to Egypt later. Why? Watch the piece now. Watch the piece. Come on, theologians. Come on, seminarians. I know it didn't go this deep when you wrote your doctorate. I know it didn't go this deep when you put forth your thesis for your master's. But I want you to think about this. Yahweh gave Avram a vision, and he took things into his own hands. And they forced upon Hagar what they thought the will of God was, the will of Elohim was. And now you have the child of allegory. And of course, after Sarai does bear, you have the child of promise. Come on, seminarians. Come on, theologians. I need y'all to talk to me. Now, we can say all day long that the secret things belong to Yahweh and those things that have been revealed to his children, that's what he wants us to see and hear. But I do want y'all to pay close enough attention to it that you don't bypass its truths. All right? So let's keep pressing, let's keep it moving. Did that intrigue anybody or cause you to at least think a little bit about the idea? Anybody? Okay. Let's persevere. Let's move on. All right. So then we had last week when Minister what's her name? Elder Roundtree brought up verse 3. And Sarai, who was Avram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Avram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Avram to be his wife. Now, many people think that from the time that Hagar and Avram got this vision, they just went immediately into, enslaving, some might think this concubine as a individual of, of service to their needs. But it was 10 years. Avram was dwelling in that land for 10 years. So they did not think about what was being done. They had no ill intentions toward this woman. None at all. They had no ill intentions. They had no ill intentions toward this particular woman. However, what happened and came forward was, in fact, this ownership piece. And Avram took Sarai, her advice, his his wife, his what's Sarai to Avram, y'all? Pop quiz. What's Sarai to Avram? Anybody?
Sarai to Abram to Cecilia, the resource to his vision.
All right, so Sarai is the resource to the vision of Avram. Does anybody remember pop quiz? Anybody remember why, in fact, we talk about this resource to vision? Does anybody realize or remember why we talk about the vision of man and the resource of the woman? Does anybody? All right, we'll come back to it later. Okay, thank you, Minister Wanda, for sharing what you had seen and what you had revealed to you. And thank you again, Minister and Elder Roundtree, last week for your reveal of the 10-year break before they started doing their own thing, their own way. All right, can I get somebody to read for us? We have sheets.
Celia.
I need you to read clear and accurate for me, please.
Starting at verse 3.
Start at 4.
And he went unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. And Sarai said unto Abram, My wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid unto thee bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes, and Yahweh judged between me and thee. But Abram said unto Sarai, Behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it pleaseth thee. And Sarai dealt hardly with her. She fled from her face. And the angel of Yahweh.
Okay. So,
You're in the matrix, sir.
Can you hear me now?
It still sounds like you're in the matrix.
Can you hear me?
Okay, you're clearer.
I'm clearer now?
Nope, you're back in the matrix.
Okay. Hey, can y'all hear me now? Test.
You're still in the matrix, sir.
Okay. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
This is a little clearer, sir.
1, 2.
You're in and out, sir.
Let's jump back to this passage.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Would you take a moment to slowly reread verses 4 again, please? Can you hear me? Reread
Yes.
verses 4 through where you stopped again, please.
And he went unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. And Sarai said unto Abram, My wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid unto thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. May Yahweh judge between me and thee. But Abram said unto...
So looking at this passage, does anyone see what we're talking about, or what do you see with, in fact, what do you see in this passage? I want you guys to think about this. Sarai is making a complaint to Avram after Avram takes her recommendation for a potential solution. And then she comes back and tells Avram, this on you, bro. Does anybody see anything there?
Celia?
Go, Celia.
As Sarai is the resource, though she gives the suggestion to Abram, he is still the one to make the final decision. He is still the one to more or less call the shots. Right. So whatever happens, the blame or the fault or the result still lies with them to handle how it to be dealt with. Correct.
All right. So she tells him, listen, sir, we got a problem now. You took my handmaid, and now I am despised in her eyes because I've let her be your wife. And now the moment she conceived, she now starts to despise me. Like, she's going to be the head honcho here. And you got to fix this, bro. Now, what I like is that Abraham doesn't do like Adam did. He doesn't say, you did this, or the woman you gave me. But he do say, all right, since you're going to throw that on me, that, it's my decision what happens with her, here's how I'm going to give this back to you. Because you did bring her to me, but here's the deal. You deal with her as you are feeling fit. Does anybody know the value and power of that? Can we talk about that for a minute? Before we try to be just biblically deep about what took place historically, can we understand the parallel of modern day and what it means for Abraham to have given her back that authority?
So yeah.
Okay, so you again.
Though she told him it was his fault, by him telling her, okay, it may be my fault, but I'm going to let you deal with it. He's like, I'm giving you equal responsibility here. I'm letting you take responsibility. I'm letting you have decision making. I'm letting you have ownership. Yes, I might be master, but I'm not looking at you as lesser than me. I'm looking at you as equal to me. So I'm going to let you handle this. And I'm
okay. That's a perspective. That's a good perspective. Anybody else?
Wanda.
Go Wanda. Go Wanda.
They,
Hold it. Floyd and then Clark. Go Floyd.
Okay, wait, never mind. Okay. What I see is the submittance that we talked about in Ephesians 5, them submitting to one another. So she took it to him, he took it back to her and told her to handle it as she saw fit. So to me, that's the submittance to one another.
Okay, you got to take that deeper because I know you started. I know you really can't talk, but when you say the submittance one to another, what are we referencing? Does anybody know what she means when she talks about the submittance one to another? Where is that coming from? And Wanda, you got to come back and explain that too. Does anybody know where that's coming from? Anybody can help out, add to this conversation, add value? Where does that submit yourselves one to another come from?
Ephesians.
You got to talk. You got to say your name, guys. Who is it?
Oh, it was Yolanda, and I said it's in Ephesians.
Hi, Yolanda. Would you grab that for me? Would you grab Ephesians 5, verses 21, please?
Yes.
And this is the reason that we do this. Remember when I told you guys, when have you really read the Bible? Yolanda, you're going to hit that for us, Pastor. But I need another person to come off mic who's been with us for a minute, who knows what it means as to, who understands when you really read your Bible. When have you really read and begun to understand the Bible's message? Wanda Clark, go.
When you read and understand the written instructions in the Torah.
So when you read the Bible after you've gotten the instructions and the lens of the Torah, when you read the Bible through the lens of the Torah, you understand the Bible and what is written later on in the New Testament, the Brit Hadessa, the Old Testament, the Tanakh, and the prophets. You read them much better with greater clarity when you've done that through the Torah. Great answer and good job. Okay. Pastor Yolanda.
Okay, Ephesians 5:21. Submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of Elohim. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto Yahweh. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Messiah is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body.
Okay, so what was verse 21 again?
Submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of Elohim.
So this is not just something Paul pulled out of his hat trying to be a counselor, is it?
Correct.
Does anybody else see that?
Yes, sir.
This is important because you see that Yahweh has been giving us understandings about proper marriage for the betterment of long-term marriage, where there is equal empowerment in the marriage. And though man is to be the head because he's the antenna, woman is a resource, and she is as equally powerful in the construction of moving forward as man is. He's the vision, she's the resource, and they're gonna make mistakes. And they got to own them, and then they got to do what they got to do with them. So it was really weird to me that when Abraham looked at Sarai and says, okay, well, you deal with her based on how you feel about her now. All right, Minister Wanda. So what did that mean when we talked about Minister Wanda Floyd? What did that mean when we talked about him being submitted? one to another. What's that look like in this analogy for you here?
That looks like the husband submitting to the wife and the wife submitting to the husband, which takes us into the next verse that tells the wife to submit to her own husband, and him being head, she first went to him and allowed him to be head. And he then said to her, well, no, you handle this the way you see fit. The husband submitted to the wife and the wife submitted to the husband. This is the exact design of Elohim for marriage, and they handled it accordingly.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that insight. We're going to talk more about it and enhance it even the more. Wanda Clark, what you got?
When I was thinking about this, what I was thinking in this verse is that at that time, knowing the culture, that was very different for Abraham to give her that type of power in that culture at that time. Most women didn't have that type of power to be able to do something, to be able to make a decision like that. That's what I saw.
Okay. Now, the culture of that time at that time was Sarai did walk with a big stick. Sarai was not no chump. The queens, the princesses, they were bosses. They really were bosses. And what I love is not just that at that time they were that way, but because of what it does and how it operates in those cultures, it's really fire. So what I can share, because no one else wants to, I guess, and I hope you guys will feel free to talk and chat about this. You're free here to chat. There's no wrong answer, dumb answer. We're in a Bible book club. We read and then we talk about it. So if you got a thought, say your name, we'll put you in queue. But what I loved was the fact that Abraham, he wasn't being slick. He wasn't being smart, basically saying, hey, wait a minute, chick. You brought chick to me. I'm Gucci with you. Me and you gravy. I don't even know why you brought old girl in, but it did become a option, that was viable. It's probable. If we want to talk about surrogacy, you have it epitomized right here in this action. So Abraham submitted, like Minister Wanda Clark said, and then just like Minister Wanda Floyd said, Abraham submitted the vision of Yahweh to his wife, which makes him, doing what Adam should have done. But Abraham, he does do it. He submits the vision of Yahweh to her. She, after 10 years, they probably tried again. And then she's like, you know what, babe? I mean, maybe it's Hagar. So none of this was trying to pass the buck. They were just trying to fulfill the vision. Are y'all following this? Because I really want to.
Yes.
I really want us to pay attention. Yeah. Because she wasn't trying to be slick or funny or phony or fake, but she does keep in mind that hey, we trying, but maybe Hagar's younger. She's my servant. There is probably fresh eggs there. And maybe that's what Yahweh wants. And again, if y'all remember a while back, we talked about vision coming to pass, prophecy coming to pass. Years later. Roundtree, how many years later did this prophecy start to fulfill itself?
10.
So it's actually longer, but it was 10 years before they made a decision to submit an alternate resource. It was 10 years before they made a decision and submit an alternate resource to Yahweh's actual plan, because they don't know his full plan. They do know they're going to have a child. She believes it. Abraham believes it. They smashing. They trying to make it happen. Y'all ain't got to laugh, but I'm going to laugh about it. They smashing no matter what. They trying to get it. You know what I mean? They putting it in. They putting the work in. I'm sure she's tired of Abraham jumping up and down like, baby, look, I mean, bro, we trying, man. But they didn't have no doctors talking about, hey, you ovulating, come on, let's go get it. No, that wasn't like we do today. And so she's like, babe, it's been 10 years. And it ain't like we're not putting the work in. So I know you love me. There's not going to be anything weird about it, but to fulfill this vision that you and I both know is what's going to make us, fulfill this prophecy. She was actually trying to do the will of Elohim. She just did it her way rather than his way. And that's why we say there are many devices in a man's heart, but the will of Elohim will always prevail. So she gives her handmaid to her husband with full assurance that her husband loves her. Wow.
Yeah, Brother Jesse got a comment, Brother Jesse.
Thank you. But wow. She's got no insecurities. She knows that she can cut this off at any time she wants, and so she's thinking that when she submits her facts or property to her husband, that they're going to be as they were before she submitted her handmaid to her husband. But her handmaid, she's given Abram the one thing that any man would want, and she's receiving the one thing that every woman wants for that rite of passage as a woman, and Sariah has yet to have that rite of passage as a woman, i.e., bringing forth a child. Hagar is giving something both want on multiple levels. I want y'all to get into the psychology of this so that we can understand the culture and the dynamics of the mental that Sariah is going through when she's blessed her handmaid, and her handmaid throwing it in her face. Now, granted, it's still weird because she's, treated like property. But she didn't expect her handmaid to switch out on her. So she goes to Abram. She says to Abram, listen, I think Sariah may be the best way, Hagar may be the best way out of this or into the fulfillment of prophecy. And Abram thinks about it. He doesn't buck. It doesn't say they had an argument. There doesn't seem to be any disdain. There doesn't seem to be any jealousy, any concern. However, they know each other. So at the end of the day, it gets done. Now that it's done and she's yet still pregnant, Hagar is like, my milkshake better than yours. Apparently, y'all ain't got to laugh, but that's what it is.
That was funny.
Yeah, that was really good. They not ready. The rest of them don't know about that. My milkshake better than yours. And y'all know how y'all ladies get about that. Like, hey, wait, chick, hold up. That's my man. I gave you that. What? You what? So you can imagine. Now they around here like two queen bees in a space. I'm like, oh, chick, I let you be queen. Now I'm trying to show you that we can shine together. But I see you got some other type of issue going on in your heart of hearts. And I know you and guess what? I really can't say much about it because you are carrying our prince. As far as we can tell naturally. So I can't do you like I would do you and drag you like I want to drag you. Y'all don't want to talk to me. See, I'm trying to help y'all understand the psychology and dynamic of these moments. I can't drag you, Hagar, like I want to drag you. Now, I'm realizing that there's some people out here that got this concept that Hagar, and there's this doctrine about Hagar being something of a dynamic for the kingdom of Elohim. Y'all stop playing with Hagar and Hagar's daughters. Y'all leave that mess alone. It ain't going nowhere real fast. And I'll tell you why when we get down to the chapters later on. So Hagar, she's got a spirit on her. She's like, yo, if my son becomes prince, first son is the blessing of the birthright. She knows it. She feels she's got them locked, and I'm about to take everything that God has promised you, Avram. Did y'all ever think about that?
No, not at all. But now I will.
Anybody else? Come on, y'all, talk to me. This is Bible Book Club. We here to get.
Brother Jesse.
Okay, brother, just hold that thought. So everything that we understand about Hagar, everything we understand about Sarai is doing something for the will of Elohim. Hagar thrust into, based on Christendom or based on us trying to get the will of God done, doing too much. Now we see Hagar, she got an axe to grind. And she feels as if she's got leverage now. Technically, she does. Thank Yahweh, Elohim intervened. Brother Jesse, go. What's your thought? 30 seconds.
Yeah. It reminded me of Adam and Eve, actually, because Adam had listened to the voice of his wife as well, before Abraham. And Abraham didn't argue with Sarah at all. So we find that both scenarios, we don't see it more detailed in Adam and Eve, but we see that they probably see that the Lord created them or having purpose to create them into his image, and yet the Satan came and deceived them on that note. And when they got to discussion, or actually when Eve actually talked with Adam, he just agreed with it and ate of the apple, and here we are. And that's the same thing with Abraham and Sarah. They were not actually finding the will of God his way or Elohim's way, and here we are today.
Well, I can't let that ride that way, brother Jesse. See, here's why. Sarai and Avram are actually doing the will of the Father.
Yeah, they
she
are.
Just does it her. Hold the thought. She's doing it her way, and she's operating in the way Yahweh wanted masculinity and femininity to interact. The difference between Avram, Sarai, and Adam, Ishai, is that there was someone who came and pushed them out of the will of the Father, because the will of the Father was for them not to eat the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So there was a persuasion there through an ignorance where, in fact, Avram and Sarai both knew of a surety the will of the Father was they would bring forth children. She just thought she could help him because they tried so hard and then they couldn't get it done. So maybe Yahweh gave me Hagar for this very purpose. Whereas Ishai, it's a little bit different. But where we can compare Adam and Ishai is that Adam does not submit and confirm the will of the Father for Ishai, because if he did, she wouldn't have eaten. She would not have eaten if he'd have confirmed it and submitted the will of the Father to her. She would have never eaten. In the case with Avram and Sarai, she heard Yahweh tell Avram, "You're going to bear a son." She can confirm in the Christophany that they had that he would bear a son from his loins. Now, coming from his loins did not mean ending up in her fertilization chamber. Did not mean ending up in her incubation chamber. You see the difference? Are y'all there? Did I lose y'all?
You have a comment?
We're here.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. And you're not far off base with that, brother Jesse. The issue is, this is where when we read this thing in proper context, you get those nuances that we sort of kind of can't just gloss over. And
right.
The issue with Adam and Ishai is a sin nature, and the issue of Avram and Sarai is we're trying to do the will of Elohim. In Adam and Ishai, they're being told not to do the will of Elohim. Big difference.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too while you was talking too. I was because even though Abraham, when Elohim came to Abraham afterwards and said, well, the purpose is still going to happen through you and Sarah. So even though they tried to rationalize on their own to make it come to pass, he still let them know that no, I'm going to do it this way. And the reason why I say it too, because a lot of times if we don't focus on Elohim's word to transform our thinking, and we go thinking on our own way on how we can be transformed by the renewing of our mind, we miss out.
Yeah, but see, we're not dealing with the renewing of our mind in this case.
Well, I'll just use that as example. As
another statement. But you got to remember too, was she was not trying to not do the will. She was actually trying to do the will of the Father. In her head, she was really trying to help her and her husband fulfill. She was being the epitome of a help me. The issue was, they just needed to be a bit more patient. And sometimes after 10 years, we all can get a little bit impatient. As in the case of Adam and Ishai, they were being coerced into not doing the will of the Father. And then if Adam would have given the instructions, then Ishai would have known, hey, can't do this. But Adam never opened his mouth and says, no, babe, we just not supposed to eat it. You can touch it, water it, you can smell it, you can rub it on your skin. You can't eat it, babe. So that's where Avram and Adam have a significant comparison here. One submitted themselves, the other didn't. That's powerful to me. Glad you raised that question, Brother Jesse. Glad you raised that question. All right. Who else was down in our moderators? What do we got?
On Facebook, sir. I'm getting there. Monique Wooden has a comment. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes. Yeah, I got you. Come on, bring it up.
Would it be fair to say that Abraham's faith concerning the promise failed because he was given the promise of Jacob, Israel, yet he wasted no time being intimate with Hagar to try and make the promise come to pass?
Two things I want to put in here and enhance, and I know clearly that Elder Wooden is talking from a different place, just like Brother Jesse. But remember, guys, this is not Avraham. This is Avram. Big difference. Now, Avram is not failing. Faith does not fail him. I really look at what happened here as us getting a very good exercise and epitomizing demonstration of how man and woman as husband and wife are to interact. They missed the mark, but faith did not fail them because they believed in getting the child because it was his will. How they went about doing it was where they didn't fail faith, they just made the wrong choice. However, even in that wrong choice, irony, it added to Avram becoming a father of many nations, because Ishmael did bring forth 12 nations. That part. And it wasn't like Avram was just enjoying, sexing up Hagar. Because if he was really enjoying sexing up Hagar, he would have never told Sarai to do with her what you will. I hate to say this way, but if you will allow for your mind to just consider this, and that's everybody consider this, Abraham realized that Hagar could have possibly been a tool to bring this to fruition. Wrong, but the mindset is that this is a tool. He did not have a love for Hagar. He had a love for Sarai. That's deep. Because he was like, baby, and this is what I like about the reason I raised the question, and C was trying to hit on it earlier, Cecilia, she was trying to hit on it earlier, and I asked this question because I want people to understand that, this situation with Avram was about getting something done. Whether we like it or not, Sarai and Avram were trying to build together, and they were trying to enrich their faith. They were trying to enrich the fact that Yahweh said this is going to happen, and they felt they were doing the right thing to add value to that. They just made the wrong choice. That's deep, because as soon as Abraham says, hey, babe, you know what? You're right. I am the master. Hey, because everybody talk about Sarai called Abraham Lord. Half these women on this platform have a fit. I ain't calling no man Lord. The devil is a liar. Okay, well, that's why you ain't built nothing. And Abraham got many nations under him. But we're going to leave that part alone. But he lets them know, very importantly, he tells them that, hey, this is what we're going to do. He says, babe, you're right. It be on me. I did make the last call. So here's the deal. Because I don't know what you're feeling. And I don't want to make this choice to do this with her. You tell me what you think would be best done for our house. Because what you want, you're my priority. Woo! You are my priority, baby. Hagar, you gave me. And we did what we did with Hagar. There she is. She got her own tent. She got her own space. She'll always be financially taken care of in this family. But baby, you're my priority. What do you want? How do you want this to look? Where do you want it to go? You brought it to me, and I took it. I believed it was a viable option. We agree, and we don't get mad at each other that we did not do the will of the Father here. But hey, listen, what makes you happy? And you have as much authority in this situation as I do. So what I'm going to do is give you the authority you respected me with and tell you to handle it your way. Man, boy, look here. Y'all might not scream if you don't want to, but I guarantee you want a man like that.
Wanda Clark.
Nobody found that completely amazing?
Yes, sir. That was powerful.
All right. Well, that's what we got. That's where we are. That's who we doing. That's how we're getting it done. Wanda Clark, go ahead. What you got?
That's why I like Bible Book Club, because this passage, their whole marriage and everything that happened within their marriage and within everything that happened around them, it makes me look at what I learned, unlearn it, and learn it the right way, based on the fact that I always, whether it was in church, whether it was me doing my own reading, my understanding, and I'm just going to put it out there that I was mad with him because I thought he was just like the rest of them in the culture. He just took a concubine, took the slave, and got mad with Sarai. But coming to this Bible Book Club for these months that I've been, 6-7 months, and understanding the word, the writ, the way I'm supposed to, it deconstructs the concept in my mind and in my spirit of what I learned for so many years in, as you call it, Christendom, and then come to Bible Book Club and get what Yahweh wants me to get and get a better understanding, which takes me through the rest of my studies and things. So Yahweh be praised, and thank you for the way you so eloquently and so passionately give me a better construct. Yahweh be praised.
Yahweh be praised. That's very kind of you. But I do believe like you believe, because in all of my years and all of my PhDs and my 2 degrees and all that I got with all of this theology and systematic Christendom and the whole nine, listen, we made it sound like Abraham and Sarai was fighting.
Yes, sir.
We do. She came at him huffing and puffing. Like, now you got the side chick. You done made her the top. What is this about? That's not what happened. Sarai was always a woman. Sarai brought this to bear because she's a resource, babe. Maybe this might work to get it done. We both agree on it. I'm suggesting it. You knock it out the box. Once it's done, we back to where we are. And they did just that. But what she did was she came and says, Listen, I don't know if you're paying attention, bro, but oh girl, yeah, she getting on my nerve right now. And you know me, but she got the baby, and that's the baby's mama now. She don't know I drag her. She does not know I push her wig back so far that bro, you need to talk to her. But Soraya, I don't get down with her like that. I'm not in her tent like that. It does not indicate that Abraham was in and out of her tent like that. Do y'all get that?
Yes, sir.
No, for real. Put this in y'all's head. Come on, theologians. Come on, seminarians. Come on, pastors, leaders, prophets, evangelists, pastors, apostles, bishops. Think. By the time Soraya gets put out, or Soraya puts Hagar out, this boy is like 15, 16, 17 years old. And if she's that fertile, and he's back and forth inside that vow, there'd be more children, don't y'all think? I'm going to leave that right there and let y'all chew on that.
Oh, yep.
Come on, Apostle.
That's true.
Come
That's
on.
true. You answered my question.
There will be a whole lot more children from Soraya. Remember from Hagar. Remember Jacob? Remember Jacob, his grandson, Israel?
Yeah.
Israel was given. He didn't want Leah. He wanted Rachel. He wanted his girl. And she couldn't bear it because of his feelings towards her. Yahweh said, "Look, you don't treat that girl right, bro. I'm gonna deal with you all together." And he was like, "All right, I'm gonna learn how to love her." But he's back and forth in Leah's camp because that's his wife. Every time he go into Leah, she pregnant. She pregnant. She pregnant. She pregnant. Shoot, gave her concubine. She pregnant. She pregnant. So if Abraham was doing the same thing that Jacob was doing, we'd have more Ishmael. I'm gonna leave that right there. We're gonna cut broadcast right here, right now, because y'all need to chew on that when it come back next week. This is why you study the writ slow. Stop trying to preach messages that you don't understand the culture behind.
Makes sense.
Mic drop.
All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead because it's 8:30 already. We've already gone through. But did y'all? I know we only did like 4 verses, right? 3, 4. How many verses we do? But you did jump to the New Testament and understand that what Paul was talking about, look at the connection. What Paul was talking about in the Brit Hadessa, the New Testament, is in Ephesians 5:21 through 25, is that we need to submit ourselves one to another. Guess who showed us how to do that? Oh, Abraham did. And he did it because Adam did not. That is where I find the details of Yahweh so unique. Adam did not submit himself to Ishai, though he loved her, because he did not tell her, "Hey, don't eat the fruit. You can touch it, just don't eat it." And then him being curious himself, "Oh, she ain't died either. Oh, let me taste it." That's sin. Soraya and Avram, it's a difference. There's a difference there. They're in conjunction. They're in agreement to bring the will of the Father. And after 10 years of trying it, she starts thinking, because that's what a resource does. Now that's deep. Put that in your pipe. In the words of my apostle T.R. Malone, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Yeah, that's the
No, yeah. No. Nobody. We're not telling y'all to smoke no cigarettes, no pipes. No, we are not. It's just
I don't smoke.
Go somewhere, brother Jesse. Sit your butt down somewhere. All right, moderators, tell us why we're here.
Good evening, everyone. Once again, thank you so much for joining us tonight in the Bible Book Club. We are here on every Thursday at 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. excuse me, Eastern Standard Time. You can visit with us in our other clubs. We are here throughout the week under the Preceding Word, which meets every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1 p.m. And we keep the Sabbath, and so please join us on Friday nights under Darash Kingdom Ministries Club. We'll be here Friday nights at 11 p.m., Saturday mornings at 11 a.m., then join us for our Morrow After Sabbath service on Sundays at 10:15 a.m., and our midweek Bible study, which meets on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. We want you to know that these rooms are recorded live on Facebook and on YouTube, at VWJ Ministries. Apostle, we turn it back over to you.
I am so grateful. We have the best mods, I believe, and I'm praying that Yahweh would bless you guys and fill you with even greater grace to help us continue to carry this gospel across these nations and continents that we travel on. Now, may Yahweh bless each of you and keep you. May Yahweh make his face shine on you and be gracious unto you. May Yahweh live his countenance upon you and grant you all 13 attributes of his shalom. I proclaim Sukkah. How about you?
I proclaim Sukkah.
Shalom
Proclaiming
Aleichem.
Sukkot.
This room will end in
I proclaim
5,
Sukkot.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you for tuning in today. I hope that this message has been a blessing to your very life and your soul, and more importantly, your walk with the King. Well, we have come to the end. I hope that you would consider becoming either a partner with us in ministry, or if you're not already a kingdom citizen, consider becoming one. By doing that, you can sow into this ministry so that we are able to continue to teach this type of ministry at a grand scale. Join us on all of our social media platforms and visit our webpage to make your contributions sure. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Shalom Aleichem.